Hi guys, it's me Anne from Geeks of Green, and today I welcome you to this space which is an extended balcony for me, and I'm really blessed to have this extra space to keep a few more plants that I love. Before we get into the video, I would like to quickly remind you to participate in this month's giveaway, which is sponsored by Plantastic Sunny. You get to win a free planter, which is really beautiful and classy. Also, do go and check out his space as well. Now, this space doesn't belong to me. It belongs to my mother-in-law, who has put her whole soul into caring for the plants that I've given her and that she has. And I thought it's worth showcasing and showing you guys this space because the plants are thriving and doing so well. I've known my in-laws since I was a kid because we were family friends before I even got married to Jake. But I always admired her love for plants. I've always seen her gardens in full bloom, and she used to keep a lot of roses and bougainvilleas, always thriving, always blooming. And that is also one thing that inspired me to keep plants myself. So she's among one of the women who really inspired me to keep plants. And yes, I'm so happy and proud to be showing you her little garden today. So one thing about my mom-in-law moving here a year ago, in the previous house, she had a window that was of a western exposure with full sun, where she would grow passion fruit, veggie plants, and a lot of roses and bougainvilleas. But then she shifted and moved to this house, which is a northeastern exposure like my house, which has very limited sun. And that is why she had to adjust and make do with plants that are low light plants or shade loving plants. But seeing her initially give up on the love of her life, roses and bougainvilleas, was really sad. But now I can say that she has adjusted and she has fallen in love with the plants that we share, and she has started appreciating the beauty in these as well. So I'll quickly show you guys the plants that are there, talk about it for a few minutes, and I really hope that you enjoy this video. You will see just now that all her plants are lush, thriving and blooming and bursting and growing big leaves. That is because she never misses watering. She never misses out on watering her plants. She's probably the most serious gardener I know, who really loves her plants and takes care of them. So I would say she never misses her watering, plus she mildly fertilizes all her plants weekly. So you can see them thriving even through winter, even through the driest of the months. So I really appreciate that, and I thought I should show that to you. This one here is the Calissia cordifolia. It is a plant that will fuss in the drier months and it will start drying up a lot, but you can see even here the top part is slightly beginning to dry and crisp, but it is still super lush and looking good because my mom-in-law doesn't forget to water it and fertilize it. Okay, so this is one plant that I've shown you before. It's really doing well here and I love the way she has kept it. Okay, now here under this is a plant that I recently gave her. It was in my brother's house, but he was clearing a few plants. So as you can see, this plant here is the elephant bush, and it's one of my oldest plants. My first plant that I got, I didn't have any plants, but I had this one, and it had grown so badly. It was lacking light. Then I shifted it to my brother's house, where it became healthy. He treated it and he took care of it and he gave it more light. And now he was clearing out his space and this plant had nowhere to go. So I asked my mother-in-law if she's willing to take it in, and she was more than happy to take it. And yeah, it's thriving here. It's getting indirect bright light here and being watered regularly and growing steadily. That's what's happening with this plant. You can see some of these mother of thousands riding on this pot because they are like weeds. They practically grow in every pot. I have multiple ones of these. They throw pups like crazy and they just keep growing and growing. You can see how lush and well they are growing. This one at the bottom is a peace lily. It's doing very well. You can see there's a lot of new growth and it's just finished blooming, blooms profusely here. So it's a healthy, good plant, doing pretty well here. Here we have an aglaonema. Okay, and here we have a begonia, cane begonia, Arabian sunset. They also have an Arabian sunset right here in a hanging pot, which is really lush. This one is a propagation, and this is a plant that my mom-in-law saw in my balcony and fell in love with. She loved the colors because she really loves flowers. So if there is any colored foliage, it really attracts her. So this is what she wanted, and it is very easily available in my Majivada nursery. So I picked up one for her, and it has been thriving. It's grown really big and it's looking really lush. This again is one of my older plants, the cordyline fruticosa chocolate, I think. It had grown super tall and it started getting sick. So my mother-in-law chopped it off here, but there was a younger plant growing right next to it. So this plant is saved. I think it is going to grow well again. It's another one of my favorites, and because I didn't have space in my house, she happily took it in. She's been caring for it. It's a beautiful plant. The color and the variegation is really, really beautiful. This next plant is a plant that's super duper close to my heart as well as my mom's. She has really fallen in love with it because it's really taken to this spot in the balcony. It was a plant that I had bought. I don't know if you remember, guys. I got it from Majivada nursery, and at that time I didn't know which one it was. I just saw that it was a philodendron that looked little nice, and I just grabbed it. What attracted me were the red stalks and the new leaves that are absolutely red. Just check out this big, huge new leaf, which is so glossy and red. I really love this plant. This plant grew well in my balcony for quite some time. But as you can see, it is a terrestrial plant that spreads out and needs more space, which is lacking in my balcony because I have too many plants. And this one started doing badly. It was not doing well. So I asked my mom-in-law if she doesn't mind having it here, and she was like absolutely happy to take it in. And once it came here, it started growing, spreading out. And as you can see, there is no obstruction to the light that is falling in. Now that down there is my roof, and the roof is a big obstruction to any more light coming into my balcony. So I have more limited light than what my mother-in-law has. There's no obstruction, it just comes in the light. So there's indirect bright light all through the day. And it's been doing really good for this plant. It's been throwing leaves. You can see there are so many leaves, and the plant has grown really big. So really happy with finding a perfect spot for this one, and it's being cared for so beautifully. I'm really happy. Now we'll quickly talk about these 4 hanging planters at the top as well. This is the golden pothos, the Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. There are 2 pots of these. She's been propagating it. She's continuously propagating stuff and making more plants, which is a great thing about gardeners. And as you can see, the plants are quite healthy. This one is an Epipremnum aureum Enjoy, which is also growing. It's a slow grower compared to the golden pothos, but it's still growing pretty well. It's been throwing out shoots, and it looks very pretty when it grows full. So these 3 are common plants, but they really look beautiful. This is a philodendron hederaceum Brazil cutting that I had given her, and it's growing so beautifully in this pot. I'm really thrilled. You can see the leaves are pretty big. It's getting unobstructed light, and it's growing really well. What I love about the Brazil is the colors of the new leaves. Can you see the stalk? It's actually peach. It's not even pink. It's peach. And look at the variegation. It's peachish. I just can't describe the beauty of the colors. So this is doing really well. It's just a cutting that I gave her from my plant, and it's growing so beautifully. So I always have been encouraging you guys one thing. When you have a plant, propagate it, give it to your family, and it will reward you. Now, if anything happens to my plant, I can always ask her for a cutting and start over again. So if you have people who love plants, just give them as much as you can so that you have reserve plants for yourself. This one here is a philodendron Birkin, which I had got for mommy from Pune because as a gift. It was a beautiful looking plant, and I already had a Birkin myself. So I was getting it for a good rate and I picked it up. It's doing so well here, which is really great. I've always had issues with Birkin, but this one is seemingly doing well. You can see that the leaves are pretty big, the variegation is extra beautiful, and the plant is healthy. Okay, Birkins are slightly fussier, I would say, as philodendrons, but this one is doing well, and yeah, it's growing steadily. Lot of new growth, lot of new leaves. This one is the lipstick aglaonema that Ugav sent me 2 plants. I gave one to my mom-in-law. She loved it for the colorful foliage, and you can see that it's growing really well here. This one here is my favorite Begonia Morris Amy, and I gave mommy a few cuttings, and I'm so thrilled that this plant has grown into this huge beautiful plant with lovely foliage. Look at the stalk also, how healthy and thick it is. So fertilizing is important, and the light that it gets is important. The watering is very important. So if you just master these things, your plants will really thrive. And my Begonia Morrisemi cuttings have become a full-fledged plant, which makes me super happy. I have backups, and I'm so happy. This here is my Tradescantia pallida. Actually, I keep saying mine, but it is actually, since I've given it all to her, it is my mom-in-law's. But yeah, this plant, the mother plant, is in my house, and I gave her cuttings, and it's growing so lush and beautiful, and it's become pretty big. It needs a little bit of pruning, but this is a giving plant. It is a plant that will just give and give, and it adds a dash of purple to a foliage balcony, which is why I like this plant. This croton here is one of our old plants. It's not doing as well as a croton would do because there's lack of light. Again, it's a northeastern exposure. Crotons need full sun. They need brighter exposures, and that's how this plant is doing well, but it's alive, it's growing, and it's pretty sickly when it came here. So mom has really worked hard at getting it into this position, which is really nice. The next one here is an aloe vera. It was a small little plant which my friend Shimona gave my mom-in-law, and it's grown pretty big actually. It's surprising, quite fast. Aloe veras have that, you know, they grow and they throw a lot of puffs and things like that. So anyway, this is an aloe vera growing happily here. This is one of my old plants. It is the foxtail fern. It's a false fern, and it's been doing well here. I didn't have place for it, so I shifted it to my mom-in-law's house, and because I didn't have place, it was not doing so well, but here she's looked after it, given it space, and it likes the spot, and it's growing pretty well. I have another foxtail fern in my house as well. Okay, we've come to the very end right now, so I'll quickly show you a few plants. This one's another Syngonium podophyllum, which I shifted here, and mom has tied it to the railings, and it's growing well here. And this one, you guys know, I've spoken about it multiple times. I've shown you videos of it and how it's been growing, how it's been thriving. This is the philodendron bipinnatifidum, which is also commonly known as the tree philodendron. Actually, it's been reclassified to Thamatophyllum bipinnatifidum, and now it's in that family, Thamatophyllum, not philodendron. So I keep calling it philodendron because I'm so used to calling it that. Anyway, this plant is growing really well, throwing leaves like crazy, spreading out like crazy, and you can see there's new growth here as well. There's some new growth, a new leaf which is about to pop out, and also this caladium that's been piggybacking in this plant. It's grown 2 leaves now. It's a beautiful caladium. I think the bulbs got left in the soil when I potted this plant. I have a video of potting this plant. If you want, I will put the link in the description. You can have a look at how it was and now how it's growing and how it's thriving. Okay, here there's another brazil at the back, Hedraceum. This is the non-variegated cutting of the Hedraceum brazil. The parts that were non-variegated, I did give it to mom to grow, and it's been growing nice, so you can call this the Hedraceum without any variegation. Okay, so it's not the brazil, it's the ones that's reverted back, and it's growing pretty well. So there are 2 pots of them, and here we have our Chlorophytum comosum, the famous spider plant, which is doing so well. Just look at these gorgeous pups. It looks like a bouquet. It's doing really well. It's got its humidity, it's got its light, it's got its constant watering, and it's happy. It's also flowering, you can see here. So it's really happy here. It's a nice, healthy looking plant. Now this one here I would like to talk about. It's mom's own Sansevieria trifasciata, the non-variegated one, and it is growing like crazy. You can see that it's in such a tiny pot. I keep telling you guys that keep the pot small, the plant will do well. Throws more leaves, and you can see that this one is so full right now. We probably will have to break that ceramic pot to repot it. I think it's time for us to repot it, but it's not showing any signs of discomfort as of now, but I think still it's time. It's going to topple over if we don't repot it soon. So mom won't be able to do it alone, so Jake and I will have to help her out. We'll have to probably crack that pot up and get it out of that pot. Anyway, so this is the Sansevieria, which is now the Dracaena, by the way. But yeah, it's a nice plant. It's growing well and it's thriving. So this is my mom's little balcony, which she's poured her heart and soul into it, taking care of the plants every day, giving them what they want, coming, checking on them, fertilizing them weekly, not forgetting to water them. That's how they are so happy and thriving. There aren't many plants here. There are a few plants, but it shows that when you have what you have, you put your whole and soul into it, and it will look so beautiful and it will thrive, and it will give you all the joy that it can give you. My mom-in-law also has a lot of bougainvilleas growing in her kitchen dry area. So just some time back, those bougainvilleas were blooming profusely. They were full of flowers, white and pink flowers, and they were looking gorgeous. Right now, I'm not sure. I'll have to check and see if they are blooming, but I will try to give you as many shots to look at this garden and how beautifully she's kept it. I hope that you liked this video, and if you did like it, do give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do subscribe to our channel as well, so that you can get more such green content. Hit the bell icon for notification of new videos and uploads. I hope to see you in another video. Till then, stay green.